between the German army and the coastal ports. Right here, the Allies halted the German advance in what became known as the First Battle of Ypres. After fighting to a stalemate, both sides dug in, forming the Western Front, a 440-mile trench system that snaked from the North Sea to Switzerland. To the east of this city, the German army held the high ground, small hills that dominated the area. The Allies were surrounded on three sides in what came to be called the Ypres salient. The Second Battle of Ypres, in the spring of 1915, saw the German army launch a major gas attack here for the first time. The Allies were driven back, but the line held, just. Their foothold became smaller, the pressure even more intense. Fighting in the salient was continuous. Over 1 million men marched along the Menin Road, many passing through this square on their way to the front line. Shelled constantly, it was one of the most dangerous places on the Western Front. Every regiment and corps of the British Army would serve here. And by 1917, thousands were wounded or killed every month, just holding the line. The Allies began a major offensive to push back the German army and finally break out of their precarious positions in the salient. On the 31st of July, after 2 weeks of intense shelling, the infantry attack was launched. The Third Battle of Ypres would rage for the following 100 days, and eventually came to an end at a small village on the high ground, Passchendaele. This is the story of that battle, told by the men who were there.
We were told we were going over the top. The terrain was very, very difficult. Shell holes, some of them you could drop a house in.
We entered the front line, shell holes over shell holes, all filled with water. On the other side, there were the snipers, and they were very good marksmen. And the artillery fired at everyone whom they saw in these fields.
About 8 o'clock in the morning, one of those whiz-bang shells landed about 2 feet under me and blew me right over the whole place, and my section was almost buried, but fortunately the shell did not explode, thank God.
The air was boiling with the turmoil of the shells flying through it. We were thrown about in the aircraft, rocking from side to side, being thrown up and down. Below us was mud, filth, smashed trenches, wreckage of airplanes, bits of men. And as we came out of it, I felt that we had escaped from one of the most evil things that I have ever seen at any time in any of the flying that occurred to me during that war.
And our wager at full guineas against all the songs you can sing, that someday you'll love and the next day you'll lose, winter will turn into spring. and the snow falls, the wind talks, and the air turns round again. And my firstborn, who rose from the grave, and will rise again.
That when he was a little un, he used to get himself into all sorts of trouble. He always said that the worst scrape he got himself into was the First World War, and the worst battle he was ever in was at Passchendaele. And he was there all because of an horse. He was a farm boy when the war broke out. 15, that's all. Like me, he didn't get a lot of schooling. He always said you could learn most of what was worth knowing from keeping your eyes and ears peeled. Anyway, that's by the by.
Not like a quicksand, but a real monster that sucked at you.
Because of the mud, there were no trenches, just shell holes. That forward line was made of shell holes. The men were wet to the skin day after day. Their overcoats were plastered with mud. So you can imagine how hard it was to move at all.
I remember very well trying to assist a lad. We called to him. I said, "Are you hit, son?" He said, "Yes, I am, little." There was no hope of getting to him. He's in the middle of this huge sea of mud. And the look on the lad's face was really pathetic, but I couldn't do a thing. Had I bent a little more, I was to go on in with them, as so many did.
I don't know how far the duck boards extended, but each side was a sea of mud. You stumbled and slugged along. If you slipped, you went up to the waist, possibly. Not only that, but in every pool was decomposed bodies of humans, mules, spoke. And if you were wounded and slipped off, well, then that was the end of you.
These dead bodies. And over that was a very strong smell, and if it got stronger, it was dangerous. It was chlorine gas.
Before learning from the War Office, your son, Lieutenant J.G. Morris, was admitted to our ambulance about 9 o'clock this morning, suffering from abdominal wounds, and is very dangerously ill. He was operated on shortly after admission. He's just as well as we can expect. He's young and strong, and we hope with God's help to pull him round for you. I will write again tomorrow and tell you how he is. Need I say how deeply we sympathise with you in your anxiety for your brave lad. Yours sincerely, Sister Annie Wright.
The edge of these duck boards, you see, with the body about half submerged in the mud. And some of these fellas, not knowing they were there, would step on their fingers. And the screams, oh, God, just haunts you, you know. But strict orders, you couldn't help them, you couldn't do a damn thing, you just had to keep going.
Your son, I am sorry to say, is not nearly so well this morning. He had a very restless night, and his condition causes much anxiety. He does not appear conscious of pain, and takes no interest in life. I will write again tomorrow. I am so sorry for you so far away from your boy, but we give him all possible care, believe me. Yours sincerely, Annie Wright.
He was ripped from his shoulder to his waist with shrapnel. And directly we got to him, he said, "Shoot me." Before we could pull a revolver, 30 seconds, he was dead. He just said one word, "Mother."
this morning, just an hour too late, your dear boy having passed peacefully away at 9 o'clock. Sister Rickard was with him and took this little piece of hair for you. She also put some white flowers in his hands in your name, and she was very, very good to him. It may be of some comfort for you to know he didn't suffer. I cannot tell you how sorry we are not to have been able to save him for you, but really, if only you'd seen how wearied he looked, you would not grudge him rest. With deepest sympathy with all his friends, yours sincerely, Annie Wright.
I'm homesick for my hills again, my hills again. To see above the Severn lake unscarred against the side, a blind blade of cold love. The giant clouds royally, like jagged woven with a train of shadows. The land is low, like a huge imprisoning oak. I hear the heart that sung and I hear the heart within me cry. I'm homesick for my hills again, my hills again. Consolable and son of rain. My hills again.
In the first place, dearest, I trust you and the children are quite well. I am sorry to say that nearly all the boys from the 7th that came out with me have gone under, poor fellows. We are expecting to go up again in 2 or 3 days, so, dearest, pray hard for me. Dear Lizzie, it's nearly 6 months now since I saw you. How I long for you and the children. God bless you all. I love you more than ever. I long to take you in my arms again. What a lot of love we have missed, but please, God, it will make it all the sweeter when I see you. I often take your photo out of my pocket and look at your dear face. Think of the times we have had together. Some lovely days, eh, love? And when I think again, some of the worry I have caused you, it makes me only the more eager to get home to you, to atone for all the worry and anxious moments you've had to put up with.